raw data before you get into the discussion. The CEO temperature, sometimes on a 1 to 10 basis. How is the CEO feeling personally, and how's the business going? And that can be 5 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Just a sort of an idea of what the mood is like before you discover halfway through the meeting that there's a really ugly problem and maybe they're a bit awkward to mention it. Financial results, if the company is in business and there are some sort of financial statements. And then a sales funnel, if they're in business, or maybe tracking to a release date if they're still in development. And then the second part should be discussion. The important thing here, of course, is not to get bogged down. So the CEO says, I'm feeling 2 out of 10 on the business because I think my partner is stealing from me. So pretty tempting to dive into that and forget about everything else. So really the coordinator should say, well, let's get through the basic information, and then clearly we'll make that number 1 on the discussion topics. And at that point, simply agree on here are the sorts of things we'd like to discuss, and let's do these before the agreed time end. It's not a free ride for the founder CEO, and I'm not talking about compensation yet. I'll get to that. But certainly you must spend some time and effort orienting an advisor to your business. They can't really give good advice unless they understand the business, and you're kind of the key to that. Keeping advisors informed, whether that's a regular monthly report or simply emails and phone calls. I have yet to be able to get a CEO to provide a regular report before the meetings, try as I might. Usually the information is there at meetings. Typically in a board you would want prior information. But anyway, founder CEOs have to find a way of keeping the advisors informed, so when it's time for advice, they're not asking a lot of questions. You have to come to meetings prepared. You have to ask for help. Certainly as an advisor, you can look at the business and probably make some suggestions on what they should or should not be doing. But a lot of this has to come from you, the founder, as well. You need to be able to listen. So both the advisors and the founders need to be able to listen to each other and to engage in, in some cases, good, vigorous debate, but of course of a non-personal nature. You're debating around the topic, but not calling each other names and so on. So it's not a free ride for the CEO. Brutal honesty and openness must be encouraged. If either the advisor or the founder, CEO, is sort of playing it safe and not saying things that should be said, then your advisory board isn't working very well. So both sides need to take a risk sometimes and be really open. And if the group is right, it'll be a safe place to do that, and you can have some good, solid conversations. But to the extent that you're guarded, then the board isn't going to work the way that you hope it to or need it to. So compensation, always a good one, and I would say among the people I work with, this is agreed upon, but I wouldn't say it's universally agreed upon. So it'll be interesting to see what reactions we get. We recommend that advisors be paid, and they be paid in cash. And that may get some people's attention. I think cash creates, and it's a term I guess I find myself using, it creates a value tension in business. Value given for value received seems to make things work properly. As a founder writing checks for money that's scarce, I'm sure you're going to ask yourself, am I getting value for this? And if you're not, you're probably going to ask, well, am I doing my bit? Is there something more I could be doing? And certainly as an advisor, taking cash that I know is often scarce, it brings me up and says, okay, am I delivering value, or am I just like cruising along and playing it safe? So cash creates certainly a value tension. It kind of keeps everybody on the straight and narrow. The other aspect is that being an advisor may not be long-term. In fact, a good advisor quite often will perhaps work themselves into irrelevancy. One of the fellows that I work with especially likes the very early stage companies, maybe just prior to product release or maybe just getting those first couple of key customers. And as the company evolves and gets bigger and a little more process-oriented and a little more bureaucratic, that's just not his shtick. And so he actually says, I'm out of here now, and I'll help you find an advisor that is more in the building orientation. So really, if both sides have sort of been paid on a monthly basis, then if an advisor chooses to leave the board, or if the CEO asks you to leave the board, one or the other may feel rejected, but you shouldn't feel cheated. And so that's another aspect. In that sense, I don't think stock and options fit the advisor role that well. I think if we're all honest, and certainly I shouldn't assume any of you were here at the previous presentation, but we know that only 1 or 2 out of 10 startups will actually have an exit and make everybody money, and that will take at least 5 years or more. And so if this is an early stage company and you're getting an option agreement, the chances of you being there 5 years from now when they have a liquidity event, the chances of the company even having a liquidity event are quite low. And so to me, taking an option or even stock as an advisor in an early stage company is pretty close to volunteering. And I don't have any issue with volunteering, but I usually reserve that for my Rotary Club, the Yacht Club, Viatech. I'm volunteering right now. So there's other opinions on this. In fact, some people will even say that certainly in directors, in some cases advisors, they should even invest in your company. And I've got a counter position to that. The folks I hang around with, generally this is the number that we work with. That much per hour, that much